I so value this process, and that Antaeus is so committed to this type of reading series and development of new work. Audience members should attend the reading series, particularly on Monday night, April 4th at 8 p.m., because you may not realize it, but you need this. You need to be in a room with other people who are happy to see you, who are happy to be there, who want to share their gifts with you. And you don't have to do anything except show up. And you might find that you have something to say about this piece or not. You might think about it later. You might not. But what else are you going to do? Sit at home? No. Get out of the house. Come on. It's the kind of thing that you can remember forever. It's an experience unlike any other. So that's why I think people should come see it. I'm Deb Hiett, and I wrote a play called Circle Forward, which is going to be in the Antaeus Reading Series Lab Results, April 4th at 8 p.m. If you'd like to hear a little bit more about me and this play, stay tuned. At some point in the past few years, I became a little bit obsessed with stories about children who seemed to remember a past life. Memories that they had that were very specific, very outside of their relatively small world and understanding. And often these memories would fade by the age of 3, 4, 5, as they became more socialized with other peers. But sometimes these memories didn't fade. And there's a researcher, I think he's at the University of Virginia, who really looks into and researches some of the stories that these kids tell, some of the information that they have. And he finds sometimes that there's a correlation to a real person that has passed. Now, what does all this mean? What are we supposed to take from this? I'm not sure, but I began to imagine what it would be like for someone who remembered a past life and felt like there was unfinished business, and wanted to pursue that for their own growth and mental health and the impact that might have. So I started writing this play, Circle Forward, and it's really about the intricacies of unfinished business. It's about how we process loss and time and memory, which is crazy, which is fascinating. How we think about the past in relation to the present, and even just the idea of, if you shared a secret with someone who passed away, if you're the last man standing, you can rewrite history however you want, or can you? ... So Circle Forward emerged out of the exploration of a lot of those themes. And it's also about authenticity and being truthful with yourself and with others, and how that is about intimacy also, and what we choose to hold on to and what we choose to let go of. And it was born as a part of, the play was born as a part of a challenge that I'm in a group called the Playwrights Union in Los Angeles, and we're a supportive group of writers, playwrights mostly, but also film and TV, who every February we write a new play. And by the end of the month, the shortest month of the year, I might add, we do a reading just among ourselves, and then we all go back and rewrite. And I was fortunate enough to be able to bring in pages as I was writing throughout the year into the Antaeus Playwrights Lab, of which I'm a member, and it's the most supportive group of writers and actors, directors, dramaturgs, people that have wonderful insight. So you bring in brand new pages, actors read them cold, they haven't prepared them, and then people give their feedback. And it's just a great way to get your bearings as you go, because it's such a solitary endeavor. You can get, crazy. So it's very helpful to be able to have that those fresh ears and eyes on your work. And so I was thrilled when Antaeus selected it for their lab results reading series. And I'm very excited. We have an amazing cast and a fantastic director. And I'm still writing it. I'm still revising it and working on it. I was up very late last night working on it. But it's exciting, and it's the best part of the process for me is when I can start to really share it, either in the lab or with other actors, with the director, with people that have bringing their own talents in. The collaborative part, which is another part of your earlier question about theater, is really so collaborative, and that's another wonderful thing about theater and this whole process. So in Circle Forward, a woman, a writer, years ago lost her husband when he was still very young. And a 15-year-old boy believes he is the reincarnation of her husband. So she invites him and his mother to lunch. And dramedy ensues. It's, you think the story is about one thing, and then it's actually about something else. And things are revealed, and I have to get better at describing this. It's exciting and unexpected. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to spoil it. I have to figure this out. We are so fortunate to have as our director Casey Stengel, who is amazing, and I've been wanting to work with for years now in Los Angeles. And we have the role of Mia, who's the writer, is being played by Elise Mirto. And Lexi, who's the boy's mom, is being played by Katya Ojeda. And the boy, and I say boy, he's a teenager, is being played by Max Torina, who's an amazing young actor. And then Caitlin Crawley is playing another role. And we're going to have stage directions read by Judy Johnson. I bring this up because reading the stage directions in a reading is so important. You think, well, they're just saying what is being... No, it's so important for the audience to hear what the actions are, what the setting's going to be, how the lights change, so that you can imagine all this as you're hearing the words, because the actors are at music stands. So they're not acting everything out. And someone who knows how to read stage directions, Judy's also a phenomenal actress, but it's very important to be able to really paint those pictures. So I want to be sure to mention Judy because she's also amazing. So it's a phenomenal group of people. So we start rehearsals really the week before. So they don't have a ton of rehearsals. They're going to be they're going to be using all of their amazing skills to jump into this hot off the press, like toasty, hot to touch pages, which is really fun. As an actor, I know I love it. When you really have to be in the moment when you're reading it. You're not memorizing everything. You have to be familiar enough, but it's so fresh and new that you're really, it keeps you on your toes. So I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled with the cast and the director, and everyone at Antaeus has been so supportive. I want the audience to feel, first of all, the shared experience. some of what the play is about is how we interpret things as individuals. And again, the idea of memory. There's never been an experiment that proves the existence of past and future. We have the present. This is what we have. And we have memories of the past. And we have imaginations about the future. But we have the present. Now, the memories are even being held in the now of your brain, right? So even those are present. You can decide to remember something differently. Did that mean that it didn't happen? Did that mean it happened the way you changed it? Like, there's so many different ways you can look at something, and so many different people have different interpretations of the exact same thing. I could go down this rabbit hole, but I want the audience to ask those questions of themselves and of people that they share memory with, and to think about what we do for those we love, what we're willing to let go of, and what we desperately want to hold on to, and connect. And I want the audience to feel connected to each other, to those that they love, to theater, to the experience that they had together when they leave. That's really what I want. I'm looking forward to hearing, feeling the audience response. The energy. I mean, I've been in audiences when my play is being produced, and it's not audible, it's not applause, it's not laughter, it's not, but there's a breath, there's an energetic movement that you can sense, and it's almost like people just leaning in a little bit, and it's life affirming, it's compelling, it's rewarding, and I selfishly want that. So whatever the response is that the audience has, I'm hungry for it. So that's the thing I'm looking forward to the most. In rehearsals, I'm looking forward to hearing from the actors, hearing from the director, getting feedback, asking questions of them, answering questions they might have. That collaborative process is just like air that I have to breathe. I love that. And then in the actual reading, just to be sitting with everyone and feeling that energy. That's the thing I'm craving. This process is critical to the development of a new play. Getting the audience feedback in any form, whether it's in a Q&A, whether it's notes that they write or emails they send, or even in the lobby afterwards, just hearing from people. All the feedback, things that confused them, things that they bumped on or didn't think were likely, or the things that rubbed them the wrong way. It doesn't all have to be the things that worked or the things that they liked or responded to, but really hearing the whole effect of your work is so important, because I tend to underwrite, meaning I don't want to over-explain things on the page. But sometimes you can underwrite too much. People go, I don't really get it. If you hear that, you want to address it, because I've done a ton of research. I've been working on this for a year now, and it's been bubbling for a little longer than that. So to me, it's like, well, of course that's what that means. But if it's not on the page, it's not on the stage, as they say. And so hearing that from people is super important to take that in, because it is in development, because it's not published, because it isn't out in the world. This is the very first moments of its life. And so the audience is super important in terms of knowing what needs work, what doesn't land, and what is working, what really rings people's bells. And you can guess all you want, but until you're in that room and you get that feedback, it's you're guessing. you're in the present. You've really got to hear, you've really got to take it in. um, Even things you don't want to hear, it's important. And then you go back and, like, after this reading, I'll go back and I'll do another revision. I'll do another round of changes and tweaks and rethink this part and, move these things around. And then hopefully it'll have another life at the next step somewhere. And then I'll get another round of feedback and another. And that's how plays get published. That's how they get to Broadway. That's how they have a life, a long life, is that they have this development process. And so it's so urgent, and that's why it's really, really important, if you love theater, to participate as an audience member in these new play readings, because a lot of theaters really don't support this development process. They'd rather go with something that's done, that's already been polished. They know that they can just put it right up. But without this process, plays don't get to that point. And so it's really important to be there and to be an audience member who's participating in the feedback, however you're comfortable doing that. But otherwise, plays don't grow up unless they have this stumbling toddler phase. I so value this process, and that Antaeus is so committed to this type of reading series and development of new work. And Antaeus Theater Company is there solidly in Glendale, and that's something to be celebrated and supported, for sure. Look, the last few years have been challenging for so many people in so many ways, and not the least of which has been financial. Performing arts organizations in particular have been hit very hard, as you know, as everybody knows. And yet it needs to be supported and sustained, because it's important for our culture. It's important for a community's health to have a thriving arts culture. And for a medium that requires people to be present, it's just not the same when you watch a play reading on Zoom. It can be fantastic if that's all you have. And gosh, I feel grateful that we've had this technology for the past few years to even have that. But especially for something that's a comedy, it's just different when you're in the theater and you hear everyone around you and you're responding in a group, rather than watching something by yourself in your office chair. So as grateful as we are for that, the value of being in person and having these theaters survive and thrive in the coming years really depends on you, and really depends on viewers and attendees, not just buying a ticket and attending, which is fantastic, but also really thinking about donating. And it doesn't have to be a lot. There's so many causes and there's so many important organizations that need help. But I think theater is one that gives back in a lot of different, more intangible ways. And so I hope that people consider it. And again, even with everything that is going on in the world in these really challenging times, a little goes a long way, and it's always greatly appreciated. Theater's been around a long time, and it will continue, but it does need your help. I'm Deb Hiett, and I'm the playwright of a brand new play called Circle Forward, which will be presented as part of the Lab Results reading series at Antaeus Theater Company on Monday, April 4th at 8 p.m. Tickets are $20. I hope that if you're able to come to the reading, that you come find me and talk to me. I'll be there. And I would love to hear what you think. I would love to hear your feedback. And I think the play is suspenseful and funny and makes you think. And I want to hear from you if you agree or disagree. And that's why I'm going to be there. So I hope that you'll be there too. I hope you'll come and I'll see you there.